The Overwatch hero, Symmetra, recently got her 4th rework since launch, and it's been received so poorly that some players have started suggesting that she should just be given a car. As an avid Symmetra player, since the original Overwatch beta, I'm of the opinion that both the player base and the developers have been looking at Symmetra wrong, and her current perception prevents her from being properly reworked. Let's look at the most recent iteration of the character, how she compares to other examples of post-Overwatch 2 hero design, and whether we can't fix her to be as fun and relevant as she's always deserved to be. Symmetra's biggest change is that her right clicks are twice as fast as before and deal 25% less damage. They're also 20% smaller and take 20% longer to charge up. These stupid bubbles might be faster than before, but in terms of confirming kills, this was a pretty solid nerf. Symmetra's right clicks are just budget Hanzo arrows, which are worse in every conceivable way, because for all the reasons people don't pick Symmetra, her projectile speed wasn't one of them. Her left click on the other hand remains mostly unchanged. As for a trade-off of no longer generating ammo from barriers, she now gets 30% more before having to reload. With the reduction of shields in Overwatch 2, this feels like a slight buff. Her teleporter on the other hand feels very different to how it was previously. No longer is her teleporter a place and forget map fixture that can get your team back from spawn faster, but it's more of a reactive ability which can get you and your team where they need to be at a moment's notice. How it now works is that the teleporter only has a 10-second duration, but its build time of only 1 second means it's much easier to use in the middle of a team fight. Symmetra's teleporter has always felt slightly too slow to reactively get out of danger, but she now seems to have a counter to so many abilities by simply using the run the fuck away maneuver. Her ultimate is unchanged, but her turrets are now 25% faster, while being 25% less obnoxious. Overall, a good change. Although this rework doesn't seem quite as big as the ones she's had previously, her playstyle feels very different to what's come before. Symmetra strangely feels like a movement character, with how quickly she can get into an enemy's backline, and I have a feeling that if you take along a decent McCree, you'll be able to delete half the team before the tank has even realized what's happened. In a weird twist of fate, Symmetra also seems to feel better on attack, as you can now jump yourself to a strategic position, create a zone of death that the enemy will have to contest, and take fights on your own terms. Symmetra appears to be drawing from the modern philosophy of Overwatch hero design, which states that no matter which hero you fight, you have to be able to either kill them, counter them, or at the very least, get away with your life. It could be argued that Sigma was the first hero to truly embrace this design philosophy, but this very much extends to Junker Queen as well, who in my opinion, is a nearly perfectly designed hero. All her abilities have their own purpose and utility. She has a lot of complexity in the way she can chain her abilities together to form combos. She can counter pretty much anyone if she has enough skill, and most importantly of all, she's really fucking fun. Playing Junker Queen, you literally get the satisfaction of blasting people in the face like Reaper, saving people with what is essentially a smaller sound barrier, smacking people with a Reinhardt axe, and an ultimate, which might currently be the best in the game. If that wasn't enough, you even get the motherfucking throwing knife from Modern Warfare 2 that comes back like Thor's hammer, just because they wanted to make her even more fun. Everything that Junker Queen does feels really fucking fun, and if this is what the developers have in store going forward, then Overwatch is about to enter another golden age. But we now come back to Symmetra and her identity crisis issue, and I certainly don't envy the hero design team for trying to make her feel as good as the newest additions to the roster. She doesn't have abilities that offer a consistent dopamine injection. She isn't aesthetically cool like Genji or McCree. She doesn't have any useful passives or an ultimate that can wipe an entire support line, and her utility is never even factored into the team when people are deciding what would make a good composition. Symmetra is equipped with a unique set of abilities and the boundless love of the gay community, but her latest version isn't going to be convincing any more players to be Symmetra mains anytime soon. The problem is that her entire lore of being an architect firmly works against the kind of game that Overwatch 2 has become, and I think that if the developers initially knew that both building heroes and the whole defense class would be discontinued into the future, they never would have made Symmetra in the first place. Most of her building abilities have been stripped away over her many iterations, but I think all of them need to be removed in order for the developers to give her a rework that sticks. What we need to accept is that Symmetra isn't a builder at her core, as her whole backstory is that she can literally bend reality using the power of hard light technology and her intense weaponized autism. When we look at Symmetra, we should be thinking of Doctor Strange and how he can literally conjure anything he needs because his power is only limited by his creativity. With this in mind, here's my suggestion for her rework. In this spirit, I believe moving Symmetra to the support category would allow for her to be equipped with more creative abilities and bring her home to the role she was always intended to fill. Her beam would be reverted to its original state, being able to lock onto enemies, but its damage would be significantly reduced, so she couldn't go back to wiping entire teams by holding left click. This beam would also lock onto teammates to heal them in a similar capacity. Her right click on the other hand would act similarly to how it does now, with reduced damage, but upon hitting any surface, the balls would turn into temporary healing turrets that couldn't be destroyed, but have a limited healing pool. This is designed to make her kit feel intuitive, while freeing up her keyboard real estate for her other abilities. Her teleport ability would also be reworked entirely, as instead of physically building the teleporter herself, it would be far more fluid. Her shift ability would allow her to teleport directly to a teammate, much like Mercy's guardian angel, which would get you out of trouble and heal both of you for a small amount. Her ability on the other hand would be the complete opposite, as instead of you teleporting to the other player, they would teleport to you. This would work similar to Revenant from Apex Legends, as it would be a status effect applied to a teammate for 2 or 3 seconds, and it would only work if they took fatal damage during that time. Think of it like a Zarya air bubble, but far less dangerous. As for her ultimate, in the spirit of her new role, and for her Doctor Strange aesthetic, it's only fitting that she should receive something appropriate for her new position. Upon activation, Symmetra herself would immediately get 200 overshields, and for the next few seconds, every single member of your team will have the option to teleport directly to your location. Like the fucking portal scene from Endgame, you can assemble the Avengers to either regroup more quickly, get out of a bad situation, or simply get themselves healed a little bit quicker. With these changes, Symmetra is able to retain her identity as a hard light architect, become a high impact support that uses her game sense playstyle to provide for her team, and has a way to either kill, counter, or get away with your life in nearly all situations. No longer does she need to compete with Soldier and Genji for securing picks for the team, and maybe for once in her entire existence, people will look at her in the spawn room and be genuinely glad that there's a Symmetra watching their back. I very much don't expect changes of this magnitude to be introduced, as the developers are usually more in favor of retroactively modifying their old heroes, as opposed to giving them multiple reworks over their lifetime. However, as a Symmetra enthusiast and a player who just wants to get these queue times a little bit shorter, this is what I would do with my favorite character if I had the power to do so. Either that, or just give her the fucking car. My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure.